Begin the patch pocket by pressing a 1/2 inch seam allowance over at the top opening of the pocket. Ideally use an iron, but here I'm just finger pressing this muslin down. And now I'm going to flip it over again an additional 1¼ inches and give that an additional finger press. So I have a nice opening for the top of my pocket. Next I'm going to edge stitch this pocket opening. So I'm putting my needle down, and now I'm going to line up this edge with the inside edge of this right part of the presser foot here, which will give me 1/16 inch edge stitch. I'll back tack the beginning and the end. And here you see a nice, pretty 1/16 inch edge stitch. Next I'm taking the vertical edges of the pockets and finger pressing them over. I'll do the same thing on the other side. Finger pressing down the vertical edges. And once I have the vertical edges in place, I can finger press the bottom closed portion of the pocket. These are all 1/2 inch seam allowances being pressed over. Now that I have my pocket pinned in place, I'm going to start with this inverted triangle that will help better secure the anchor points of the pocket opening. So what I'll do is I'll start about 5/8 of an inch back, and I'll back tack, and then I'll stitch at an angle down to the pocket opening, and I'll find the pivot point and switch around, and now I'm doing that 1/16 edge stitch all the way around the entire pocket. So I'm manually lowering my corners so that I've got my needle exactly in place for my pocket so that that edge is lined up with the presser foot edge, and then I can stitch straight with my machine until I get to my next pivot point. And I want to stop and remove my pin so that I don't sew through it. And then as I get closer, I'm manually adjusting the needle so that I get the perfect placement to pivot my pocket on that corner so that my edges still line up at that 1/16 finish. Removing pins so I don't sew through them, and at every pivot making sure to adjust so that I have the right amount of overlap for my edge stitch. And then I continue around the corner. This one was a little tricky. And now I have my final lap, but I do want to finish off with that triangle again. It just helps take a lot of the stress of going in and out of your pocket, reaching for things, when we have that triangle to displace some of that stress on more surface area of stitches. So I'm going 3 stitch lengths in and then back tacking that final point so that my stitch all along my pocket is secure. And here's my finished patch pocket.